I didn't expect to be seated near the service area at my son's wedding. I told myself it didn't matter, that as long as I was there to witness Daniel's happiest day, the location of my chair meant nothing. But when the usher led me past the glittering tables, past the elegant floral displays, past the families laughing together, all the way to a small table tucked behind a row of tall plants and barely 10 feet from the kitchen doors, my heart pinched. Maybe it was silly. Maybe it was pride. But I had imagined sitting closer. Not at the center, not even in the front, just close enough to feel like I belonged. Still, I smiled politely and sat down. And then I froze. Because someone was already sitting at the table. Someone I hadn't seen in 23 years. Someone I believed I would never see again. My ex-husband, Mark. He looked older, thinner, and tired in a way that had nothing to do with age. His eyes lifted when he saw me, and the swirl of emotions there, regret, fear, longing, hit me like a wave. "Hello, Evelyn," he said quietly. I couldn't breathe. This man had walked out when Daniel was 6 years old. One morning he kissed our son on the forehead, said he'd be back by dinner, and simply never came home. No warning. No goodbye. No explanation. I found my voice only after a long moment. "What are you doing here?" He swallowed. "I wasn't invited." "I know that. I just wanted to see him. From a distance. I didn't expect to be seated with you." They must have filled spots randomly. The kitchen door swung open behind us, the clatter of plates and sizzling pans breaking the silence. I felt a twinge of embarrassment. Of all places at all moments, this was where fate placed me. Before I could respond, the ceremony music began. Guests turned their chairs. The room filled with soft whispers and gasps as the bride appeared. She looked radiant, and Daniel, my sweet, hard-working Daniel, looked like the happiest man alive. He scanned the room, searching for me. His eyes landed on my table. On me. Then on him. His face went pale, almost ghostly. I gripped the edge of the table, wishing I could shield him from the shock. But he stood frozen, staring at his father for the first time in over 2 decades. The ceremony continued. They exchanged vows, rings, and promises. The room glowed with love. But I couldn't hear much, not over the pounding of my heart. When the couple exited the aisle and guests began chatting again, I turned to Mark. "You shouldn't have come," I whispered. "I know," he murmured. "But Daniel, he deserved a better father." I wasn't that man. I thought leaving was the least damaging thing I could do. He paused, voice breaking. "I've regretted that choice every day since." He reached into his jacket and pulled out a small, worn photograph. The 3 of us at the park, Daniel on his shoulders, me laughing beside them. "I kept this even when I didn't keep myself," he said. I didn't have a chance to respond. A shadow fell across our table. Daniel stood there. His new wife held his arm gently, her expression confused but supportive. Guests glanced over, sensing tension but pretending not to. "Dad." Daniel said the word like it tasted foreign. Mark stood immediately. "Daniel. I'll leave. You shouldn't have to see me today. I just wanted to know you're happy." "You don't get to walk away again," Daniel said sharply. "Not before I speak." His wife stepped back to give them space. My chest tightened. This moment, this fragile, breaking moment, felt too raw to witness, yet I couldn't look away. Daniel took a deep, shaky breath. "Why now?" he demanded. "Why today?" Mark lowered his head. "Because I ran for years. From responsibility. From myself. From the guilt. I told myself you'd be better off without me. That I was too broken, too angry, too lost to father anyone. And now?" Daniel asked. "And now," Mark whispered, "I realized disappearing was the greatest harm I ever caused." Silence hung thick as smoke. I placed my hand over Daniel's. "Son, you don't have to forgive him. Not today, not ever. But don't let anger take root in your heart, not today of all days." Daniel's eyes glistened. Mark stepped back. "I'm not here to take anything from you. Not forgiveness. Not space in your life. I only wanted a glimpse of the man you became. You owe me nothing." Daniel looked at him, really looked, and something softened in his face. You didn't raise me, he said. You weren't there for the moments that shaped me. The pain you left, it made me stronger, but it also left scars. Mark nodded, tears slipping down his cheeks. But, Daniel continued, voice trembling, I don't want to carry anger into my marriage. I won't let your choices poison my future. He exhaled shakily. So here's what I can offer. You may stay today. Not as my father. Not as family. But as someone who once cared enough to watch from afar. Mark covered his face with his hands, overwhelmed. Thank you, he whispered. That's more grace than I deserve. Daniel turned to me next. Mom. I saw you sitting here. Near the service area. Why didn't you say something? I shrugged, wiping a tear. It doesn't matter where I sit. What matters is being here for you. Daniel shook his head and looked around the room. Then he did something no one expected. He spoke to a nearby coordinator. Within minutes, they moved my chair and Mark's toward a beautifully decorated table closer to the dance floor. Not in the center, not in the spotlight, but in a place of belonging. But before sitting, Daniel hugged me. Tight. Warm. Full of love. And then, slowly, cautiously, he held out a hand toward Mark. Not forgiveness. Not reunion. Just a gesture of human decency. A beginning, perhaps. Or simply closure. But it was enough. As the music swelled and the newlyweds danced their first dance, I watched my son's face, lit with love, peace, and a maturity far beyond his years. I realized then that the most powerful acts of humanity are not always dramatic. Sometimes they are quiet. Gentle. Imperfect. Sometimes they are a son's willingness to choose peace over bitterness. Sometimes they are a mother's decision to let the past sit quietly beside her. And sometimes they are a broken man's courage to face the family he failed. That night, surrounded by laughter and glowing lights, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Hope. Because love, not the romantic kind, but the human kind, had won after all.